So you've been diving in tropical water and now you're interested in diving in cold water. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 things you're going to need to know before making that switch. Let's dive right into it. The first thing you're going to need to know is that you're probably not going to use this nice light wetsuit anymore. So say goodbye to that and say hello to your dry suit. In cold water, we normally dive using a dry suit as it just keeps us a little bit more warm by, you guessed it, staying dry. So you can actually stay 100% dry in this, aside from your head, of course, and as long as you don't have any leaks. Diving in a dry suit can have a little bit more of a learning curve as you actually use your air to keep yourself warm. Now, there is a valve over here, so you're gonna need an extra hose, and when you push this button right here, air will actually fill in. Now, this does keep you warm, but it also makes you more buoyant. So I kind of see a dry suit as kind of like a second BCD. So it does take some time to kind of get used to that, thinking of 2 different devices, and of course, making sure you're nice and trim. Of course, you can be one of those crazy divers who drives in the wetsuit, but at what cost? The second thing you're going to need to know is the amount of weight or lead that you're going to be needing when diving in cold water. In tropical waters, you're usually just wearing a wetsuit and you don't really carry that much stuff with you. Therefore, you don't really need that much weight to keep you down and to bring you down. In contrast, cold water diving, as mentioned, we do use a dry suit and have a lot more layers underneath to keep you warm. With this, you're obviously going to need more weight to keep you down and to bring you down. As a reference for what the weighting looks like, tropical versus cold water diving, for myself, for example, when I dive tropical water using a 3 or 5 mil wetsuit, I usually only use 2 pounds, and that's with an aluminum tank. In contrast, when I'm diving locally here, I use a steel tank and 23 pounds to keep me down. Now, when it's kind of colder in those winter months, I might actually add more weight just so I can add more layers or add more air just to keep myself warm and cozy. The third thing you're going to need to know are the different equipment needs. Now, you're going to need a specific cold water regulator set. Now, you can dive this in tropical water, but you cannot dive tropical regs to cold water regs. The reason behind this is for this dude over here. This is an environmental seal. Now, unlike cold water regulators, this environmental seal just prevents any water or contaminants to go inside the reg itself. This is highly important when diving cold water because it prevents freezing or malfunctioning. Now, if this freezes, your reg malfunctions, guess what? You're underwater. That's not a great situation. Aside from having a cold water regulator set, you're gonna need a good quality dive light. I love all my Big Blue dive lights. Now, this is very essential just because in cold water destinations like Canada or the UK, we don't really get as much sunlight and sunshine throughout the year in comparison to, let's say, Mexico or the Philippines. So sometimes when you are diving here, it does get a little dark and gloomy. So a good dive light just helps you kind of illuminate everything, bring back the colors, and of course, you can peek in through little nooks and crannies, hopefully find an octo or something cool. So those are the 3 things to expect when making the switch from tropical water to cold water diving. If you want to know more about how to keep yourself even more warm diving cold water, check out the video I did about that in the description below. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Warmer waters, all you really need is a dry suit, wetsuit, and say hello to your dry suit.